Hey guys, Tim Gillette. We're Tim Gillette Show. We're back here with another great interview. My buddy Jeff Wolfe, Adventure CEO. Now, Jeff,
Tim, thanks.
go way back. Hi, thanks. Come on, buddy. Say it.
I just can't wait to interrupt you. You know, we go so far back; it's just natural.
Hey, Jeff,
jump right in.
Ever feel like we finish each other's
sentences? Yes, we do. Yes, we do, and we interrupt, we banter. So try to keep up, please, as you're watching this. We'll do our best. I'll do my best to not give you lots of dead air.
Yeah, dead air, or like maybe we could.
How was it, Tim? It was good.
Hey.
Oh, it was very good.
Hey, Jeff, what are you doing right now in California?
Working my butt off. Because I have been paying attention to what people have been saying. I have been fortunate to surround myself with high performers, entrepreneurs, and I have been paying attention to what they're doing. You're one of those. I'm watching what you're doing with your podcast. 100 interviews in 30 days. Mm-hmm. Holy cow! And what I keep hearing from you and other high performers are, this is the time to go. This is the time to go. So I've been doing interviews. We do a TV show. I've been doing interviews for that. We've been doing some other stuff on the internet. And I don't know about you. And as you're watching this, I'm not sure what you're doing, but listening to all the input I was getting, I took my business plan and threw it in the trash can and got out a clean sheet. Said, okay, given what's happening today, what would I do if I were starting over? And that's kept me very, very busy as we've been locked down here in California.
It's just it's funny that those people who are the higher achievers are finding ways to do things. And yes, I have never been busier than I am right now.
And I was talking to one of the gals that was in our recent Women in Leadership interview series. Mm-hmm. that Sarah Buxbaum.
Yep, Sarah, great people.
So she's a woman that is an award-winning entrepreneur that is busting the mold for the millennials, are these stay-at-home in their mom and dad's basement type people, because she's just going after it in business and in life. And I had one of those conversations where my words are haunting me now. Where I told her, go, look, can you? And it's giving me chills again, because now it's washing back on me to where I've got to do this. It's like, look, if you want to, if you're willing to, this is your moment. Mm-hmm. We need you to get out, to be out front, leading with the other leaders when all of this is over, right? There's going to be another side to this, and it just gives me chills. And I'm on the phone with her, and we finished our conversation, and I turn around and my wife's looking at me going, mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hashtag me too, huh?
Yep. Yep.
In a different way. But I have been, I've been following it. It's like I can be on the couch, streaming stuff that's not going to help me at all, binging on old TV shows, or I can be getting educational content. I can be getting educated. I'm building relationships with people that have been introduced to by you and other people that are doing live streams. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather be out front with the other leaders.
Yeah. But you've always been a guy who wants to lead the pack. I mean, come on. We learned that from our Harley.
Yes, indeed. Always want to be in front, or block, keeping an eye on things in the back.
Mm-hmm. Which position of road captain do you want to be? The lead bike or the tail gunner?
Right, front left.
Front left. Do you want to be the lead?
Yeah.
I'd rather be the tail gunner. I'd rather be the guy in the back.
Yeah, and it depends. I'd rather be front lead, but it depends on who I'm riding with. If I don't know the group as well, I'll stick in the back, because then I can keep an eye on what's happening. I can coach people that aren't used to riding with a group, mm-hmm. And I cannot get run over by the occasional knucklehead that ends up in the middle of the pack.
I hate riding in the middle of the pack.
I won't do it.
No.
I just won't do it.
Yeah, it's my worst nightmare to be stuck on a group ride in the middle of the pack. Yep. So Jeff, in this time that we're going through right now, all right, what is the biggest demand you're getting from people right now?
The biggest demand is to help them connect. Mm-hmm. Right. Is to help them connect and to get information on, connect with other people and get information on, what does it look like? What do we think it's going to look like on the other side? People have been in lockdown and stay at home, if you will,
Yeah.
for over 21 days. And I've heard you and many other leaders teach, go, look, it takes 21 days to acquire a new habit. So now, by definition, by the sheer psychology of humanity, we're going to be in a different world because everybody's been forced to do something radically different than their normal life for more than 21 days. So now they have new thought processes, new habits, and new experiences. So what is that going to look like? How do we serve? Where are the gaps? Where are the opportunities?
And the opportunities right now, all right, that you're taking advantage of. All right. Are they profitable a year, 2 years, or permanently in your business?
Hopefully permanently, but I started looking at, what is it right now? And how does that line up with, we've got a little bit of a core from what we originally planned to do this year that's still relevant. That's the key question. Is it relevant right now? And then start looking at, will that be relevant 6 months, a year out? So some of the things that are relevant right now that I personally think will be relevant for the next 12 months are, the pivot. People are pivoting and they're going to grapple with that whole process. It's like we were doing this. Now we're going to be doing this. So how do we master it? How do we make the transition? How do we realign processes in businesses to do that? So it's all the things that go around making the pivot and then actually having the pivot be successful.
So, but let me go there. So for my listeners, so they kind of know the business you're in. All right. Why don't you explain what Adventure CEO is to people?
Thank you. Adventure CEO is an adventure mastermind for CEOs. So we're looking at how do we break the frame? Let's go. Let me summarize it this way. Come jump off a bridge with me. Trust me, our conversation at lunch will be different than it was at breakfast. Right. So
you're right.
Yeah. It's how to break and I learned that when I went whitewater rafting for the first time as a teenager. I still remember that experience sitting on a mountaintop because we goofed up, almost drowned. I'll save that's a longer story for another time. Almost drowned. We got through it. And that night we're sitting on a mountaintop under the stars, barbecuing over an open fire, having some adult beverages. And our conversation was decidedly different than it was the night before when we were preparing to go. It was about what I want to do this. What about that? Well, let's make this, it expanded how I thought about stuff. So an alternative for CEO, it's not just about being a chief executive officer of your business and your life. It's also continually expanding opportunities for your family, your team, and your community. So we do that. And we also do a TV series around that called Leadership Insights, where we do interviews like this with entrepreneurs to share their experience and how that frame has changed for them over time.
And I've got to ask this question. All right. How many people come in with the fear mindset and leave with the faith mindset?
The ones that survive.
Did you ever see the comedian who says that? Or he says, as kids, we played with fireworks and all this stuff. When you don't have the dumb kids, they didn't make it.
They didn't make it. Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's like this whole pandemic, right? It's like the zombie apocalypse. The ones that panic get eaten first.
Yes.
So it moves pretty much everybody. It moves, and that's, it's up to us to set the table correctly for the experience and have the right people at the table to do it. But everybody moves forward some when you're with a group where you can like have the interaction like you and I have, and you can experience something that's pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. So, and I know, I've heard some of the stuff you're doing and, I've talked, you keep trying to rope me into coming on one of them. All right. One of these days I will, but I've got to come to California to do it.
But not necessarily. If that's the hang up, we'll come to Texas. I'm happy to come to Texas. But here's one of the things about what's happening right now though. So we do, that's an external outdoors gathering, partly because I like to play, and it's just, and the dynamics makes it work. But in our current environment, for at least 6 months, possibly the rest of the year, that's really not going to be relevant to what's going on in people's lives to do that kind of live gathering. So what do? Well, we leverage the TV show, and we're looking, and we are putting together a way to do that program virtual, to innovate.
So, and being that innovative person. All right. right now, if I want to know if you're getting the same things I'm getting right now, because there's a lot of bigger companies who are established who've had to follow all these rules throughout the years. And right now, rules and restrictions for some businesses are being lifted.
Yes.
Are they calling you and going, hey, can I tap into your adventuresome mindset for a minute to help me weather this storm?
Yes, you're starting to get some of that. And actually, here's a tip. I learned this from you, Tim, and from half a dozen other high-performing entrepreneurs. So as you're watching this, here's a golden nugget for you that I just recently got. I'm not waiting for them to call me. Mm-hmm. I'm reaching out to them. I'm looking at who do I think I'm in a good position to help? What's their gap that I can see? How can I serve them? And I'm going to them and saying, hey, look, are you thinking about this? If not, let's have a conversation. If you are, let's have a conversation on how it's possible to help you with that. Mm-hmm. Waiting for the incoming is not being out front with the leaders.
Mm-hmm. So, and trust me, I want to sit and wait for the incoming, but I want to build a field of incoming. I really do. Right, all right. That has been my entire business model for years.
Yes.
I hate making the calls. All right. But in making those calls, does that mean we stop the advertising or marketing, like, you know what I mean? So that we create the information that gets them to come to us. Do we stop doing that now?
Yes, please do, because we'd love to pick up that business.
Other than that, no, I mean, really.
No, of course not. Need to look at that. That's an excellent question. And it comes back to the, quickly assess what's relevant in the immediate moment, mm-hmm. and in the near term, say, 90 days, a little bit more out, and something that's not relevant to that, stop and take that money, the resources, and put it into marketing that is relevant. You need to tweak. You probably need to tweak the marketing a little bit. It's something that we found. It's like I just had to set everything aside and go, okay, let's redo this, mm-hmm. because the messaging is not right. What the service that we're offering isn't relevant to what people are asking for, what they're needing in the moment. So yes, absolutely, pour the marketing on, because this is one of those moments where unfortunately a lot of some companies, some entrepreneurs will say, it's uncertain. I'm not sure what's going on. I want to keep my powder dry. So we're going to hang on to our money. We're going to turn off our marketing and sales, which when I was in management consulting, had a client that did that once and watched the results of that. They were trying to cut costs and they eliminated their whole sales department. And we're like, what are you doing? Yeah. Right? We immediately had a team meeting and said, when's the next time we invoice? So we scheduled an executive meeting with them, got paid, and then stepped back to watch what happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, along that lines, all right, getting the marketing out there, still, making the calls to help them in sales. All right. Mm-hmm. What is it that that you are telling your clients? I mean, in your newsletters, in your blog posts, in your TV, what are you telling your clients right now? Don't stop. What are you telling them not to stop right now?
Don't stop outreach, whether it's one-to-one outreach, like picking up that 400-pound phone. Mm-hmm. Make that very strategic, because that's it's hard to do. It takes a lot of time. Keep the marketing going and make sure that it's tuned. Quickly assess operations, mm-hmm. to see, because we really talk with a lot of mid-sized companies. So it's assess operations to look at, what can you drop right now, and where can you drop in changes as part of that pivot, mm-hmm. and be training people, because hiring is going to be tough for the rest of the year. I mean, right now in the hiring process, somewhere between recruiting someone and onboarding them, there needs to be some face-to-face interaction. Face-to-face interactions with strangers is really dicey at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to bring new staff on or replace people as they leave, and people are still going to leave. They'll get better jobs. They're going to be going through hard circumstances, because you have two incomes, or supporting a house. One income gets lost, and guess what? All of a sudden they got to move, mm-hmm. and they might be moving someplace where they can't stay on your team.
Yeah. So, knowing that what you do and all this knowledge that you've got, can we talk a little bit about your history and how you got here?
Absolutely.
All right. So you didn't always live in California to begin with. Where'd you come from?
No, I did not. I'm not from here. I just live here. Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Midwest. I'm an Ohio boy, mm-hmm. and cut my teeth riding motorcycles, through the hills in Southern Ohio. And it was a good, it's like 150 miles in any direction, and you're in another state and another environment. So it was a good, I grew up my parents were the Depression generation, so I grew up around people that had survived the Depression, and virtually all of the men had served in combat in World War II. So I got to hear a lot of. They thought about things differently than we do today, and talk about things differently than we do today. And they had that sense of, and find the fun in what you do. It's one thing that always stuck with me. The Depression generation, they talk about how hard it was to get through the Depression. It's like my dad told me, it took him 6 months to save money to buy a pair of shoes.
Wow.
He didn't like motorcycles because the second time he wore them, he went for a motorcycle ride with a buddy of his who fishtailed on some gravel in a corner, and it tore the side out of his brand new shoes. It took him 6 months to get to.
Yeah.
But he could drive a car like nobody's business. That's another story for another time. So, I grew up in that environment, got to spend some time. Some of the family and friends of the family still had working farms. So growing up, we got to spend a couple weekends on different farms, which was a great experience. So
interesting.
More of a townie than a city kid sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's interesting that you grew up in the country and you ended up working in the city, but, let me go back to those younger years. You're in Ohio. Is there somebody that gave you like a word of advice or a stroke of wisdom that has carried you through to what you are now and where you live now?
Yes, my dad. And I'm fortunate as I've gotten older. I find that it helps me appreciate the great relationship that I had with my father, and he was a good mentor. And he was always about relationships. Relationships with people are the most important, and how can you be of service to people? And because growing up, he knew everybody in like a 2-block radius, and it was a mix of younger families and retired. Some people were retired. The folks are retired. He's always over with the ladder, cleaning the leaves out of their gutter, stopping in to check on them. We have big family gatherings on the holidays, and then take a care package with food over and whatnot. So I got to see that example. And he always asked me, he goes, because I'm a recovering engineer, so I tend to focus on what's the facts and specifics of things. He's like, look, you can be right or you can be dead right. Where do you want to be? If you go ahead, you can hang on to that. This is the actual right thing. And he goes, or the message was, focus on the relationship with the person that you're looking at, where you're talking about what's right or not first, and think about how you want that to go in the future.
So go ahead, finish.
Well, and it really, that had very little. See, I'm touching my face. CDC, I'm touching my face. And I'm sure that the cops are going to be at the door in any minute now. So better scratch good. Oh, God, that feels good. So but it was more about being open to stuff in life. And there was a tragedy. My mother died unexpectedly one night of a massive heart attack while I was in college. I was living at home while I was in college, which was great because I didn't have any debt and managed to find a way to pay for it going through. And I watched everything change right there, right? Because all the stuff, they were just getting to the point where they're about to retire and do all these things that I heard them talk about all their lives. And guess what? Boom, done.
Wow.
And that's a kernel of what drives the values in the venture CEO. It's like, look, let's have fun today because we don't know if tomorrow's coming.
No.
Right. Let's have fun, but let's still be deadly serious about, making a difference in the world.
So I want to go back there, Jeff, and talk about the relationship thing. What if there's somebody listening on our show today who's had a problem building relationships? Like they're great at, giving you the sales pitch, giving you the hard, hey, what would you encourage them to do, especially in this time, to start learning to build relationships? Yeah.
Well, you mean somebody like me? Because I'll tell you what. You know me. Tim's known me for a long time, and this part of my personality still, I have to watch it because it still comes out. I am very good with handcuffs, gas cans, and matches, and I'll tie both of us to the bridge to burn it just to make the point, right? So yeah, it is. How free do you want to be? That's the question for me. That was my game changer question. People kept asking me, "How free do you want to be?" Because, and how big of an impact, or corollary to that's how big of an impact you want to have. It's like, the more that I focus on the relationships with the people around me and how I can having a perspective of service, the more freedom I have in doing things that just, I look back on and go, I can't believe I had the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And and that also then turns into how big of an impact you want to have. That opens doors to being able to do things that are just that will amaze you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. To me, to my experience, it's driven by fear.
Mm-hmm.
And an internal focus on, okay, what's going to happen with me? How am I going to how am I going to keep a roof over my head? How am I, this, that, and the other? And it's like, that happens by focusing on the relationships out there. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be everything to everybody. It's not about pleasing everyone. It's about finding the right five, if you will, right? That phrase, the 5 people that you hang out with today will determine what your future looks like in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you've got 5, and this is another thing I learned from my dad. He goes, look, if you have this many best friends, real, true best friends, you are a blessed man. You're living a blessed life. And he goes, and here's the reality. It probably won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 2 or 3, you're doing great.
Well, I was told you need 6 because you need 6 to carry your. Anyway.
No, I don't, because I have instructions to just take me out on a boat and tip me over for fish food and throw a party.
Yeah, whatever. Just do away with the body when I'm gone. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, I forgot we're live. We're not just talking to shit.
Anyway, yeah, we forget sometimes, don't we?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I like this, how we go down this relationships things, because really it is a key in so many businesses, and so many people now are hitting hard sales as opposed to relationships. But all right, you know what I mean? As one of our guests who made the comment there a little bit, Larry Broughton, who was watching the show here a little bit earlier, yes. Larry right now, all right, has got relationships that immediately he turned and made a plea to the relationships. That's where they come in handy. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is so hard to do. Mm-hmm. So if you are sitting out there and that's a struggle for you with relationships, a part of that is it is so hard to reach out and ask for, hey, you know what? I need some help with this. To this day, I have a challenge doing that. The thing is, if you don't have the relationships, there's no one there. If you do, and you're able to make that kind of reach, you take a high level leader like Larry that reaches out. He has this huge network of relationships because of what he's done for people, the value he delivers, the way he, his walk in life, and that makes all the difference in life, and particularly in moments like this where everybody's staying at home and there's a lot of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and like, I'm seeing the advertisement going on TV with some of these smaller companies going, remember that time that, so-and-so, all these people showed up for you. Well, now, the restaurant worker or the server or whatever, they need you to show up for them for a moment. Can you do that?
Yes.
Please? You know what I mean? Yes. And it's, I can't tell you how many little charities I'm giving little bits here and there. All right. And I'm by all means don't have excess. My wife and I are struggling ourselves, but we're still trying to do little things, to help those people who basically don't have or are literally drowning right now. So,
yes. Yeah. At the very least, to, the people that are still working at the restaurants, the grocery workers, healthcare workers, to at the very least to give them a smile and a thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Let them know, hey, I understand that this is really a push. There's one of the gals at the local grocery market that we've been stopping in once a week here has AFib.
Yeah.
Which makes this very
hard.
Heart problem. So it makes her, very high risk for her. She's still working at the grocery store, and I make it a point to thank her and, say, hey, take care of that AFib. We're really glad that you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is. It's great that you do that, and it's great that when you have relationships, she has the problem. Oh, continue what you were saying there.
No, that's it's just I can't imagine doing it any other way. It's to acknowledge them and thank them and to follow the rules. It's like I thank her at a distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, good to see you. But even walking to the car. Everybody's walking around out here wearing masks, so it's like to still turn and go, hey, it's kind of funny seeing a bunch of banditos going, hey, how you doing?
Well, one of the things that it's never slipped my mind, because I'm always this way. Yeah, I'm a business guy, but I start to see what you're going through. All right, and the first question I'm going to come down, and I did this to Larry last week or so when he was on my happy hour, and I just went, so Larry, how are you? I mean, how are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to know, how are you? All right. And like my wife watched half of her friends that she's worked with for years be furloughed through this.
Wow.
And it's driving her nuts. I mean, she's carrying the burden right now that they had, but every time she gets on the phone with them, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you holding up in this? That should be our first question to those people, because everybody is going through it. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And it's physical distancing, social gathering. Our friend Glenn Morshower.
Yeah.
And Morshower. Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn.
Doing my words today. He's been talking about that for weeks, where it's like, look, the social distancing, wrong phrasing. It's physical distancing, social gathering. We are in this together. We have to pull together on it, and that will help us create something really cool out of the experience on the other side.
So, I mean, we started on a journey going through Ohio. All right. Yeah. What made you actually pick up from Ohio and go to California?
Hughes Aircraft.
Hughes Aircraft.
I did not. My undergrad was in electronics. Everybody's interviewing for Silicon Valley. I'm like, look, I want to stay home.
Yeah.
I want to stay close to home. And there just weren't any jobs in the Midwest at that time, especially electronics. And Hughes Aircraft came on campus to interview. And I was like, I really don't want to go to California, but it's Hughes Aircraft. I mean, I grew up reading Scientific American, and they had these cool ads. They're always talking about the neat stuff that they're doing. And they brought me to California. And it was an inflection point in my life. And being able to work with, I still learn from that first job experience out of college with Hughes Aircraft.
Yeah. And how long did you stay with them?
About 5 years.
Would you? Okay.
About 5 years. Finished my MBA, and then had an opportunity to take a management job with another technology firm, and did that. So it was, started a journey that never would have happened. And it was one of those inflection points, and it blew open my thoughts of what was possible. Before that, I was really just looking for finding a career, a job where it's like, I can work during the week, kind of punching the clock, so I can get to the weekend, ride motorcycles, hang out with my friends, throw parties, and, maybe get a vacation a year. Wasn't real big thinking. Yeah. That's shifted a little bit now.
But you're in California. You've been here quite a few years. All right. What do you like about it now? There's got to be something you still like about it.
No, I'm just funning on California. People always say the weather, but it's not. It's the opportunity, right? There's so much happening here that it's hard to move away from that, because it's just one thing after another. I mean, where else can I live where I can go to Caltech once a month for an entrepreneurship? They do an entrepreneurship panel. That's just amazing. There's so many events that are held here, so it makes it easy to be able to meet people like yourself and build the friendship that we have, because we're both, people are coming to Los Angeles a lot for different types of events. So the educational environment, the talent pool, the ability to rub shoulders constantly with high performers to hear how are they thinking about things, whether it's just striking up a conversation at a restaurant or while sitting at the airport waiting. You never know who you're going to meet. And so it's that whole sense of possibility that really keeps me here. Weather's pretty good too. That helps, being able to go down to the beach, or, right now you get arrested if you go to the beach, but the times where we can go to the beach and hike in the mountains, that's a nice added bonus.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this. I mean, you can find better, or you can find something good about everything. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, you can.
You showed that, huh?
Yes, you can. Yeah, and you could also find negative in it too. I was real good at that for a big chunk of my life, where it was like going, oh man, I'm living 2.5 blocks off 2 blocks off the beach. The windows rattle when the big waves roll in during the storms. Thinking about, wow, what a crap life I've got. I used to use a pickaxe to dig the ice out of the driveway to go to work in the winter. I could walk to the beach in my shorts in February, and I'm whining. It's like, it depends on where that focus goes, right?
Yeah. Life's not all that bad.
Right.
So Jeffrey, you and I have known each other, 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean? We've got to go down the path of the one thing we have in common. We got to talk about it.
Motorcycles,
baby. So what kind of bike you got right now?
2002 Harley Davidson Wide Glide.
Wide Glide. Okay.
Her name is Sheila. She likes to go fast She likes to ride hard but not be abused.
And how many Harleys have you had over the years?
This is my sixth.
Sixth. Okay. Longest road trip you've ever taken on one?
Wow, it's a toss up between. Still have to be Sturgis. We went on a big trip through southern Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado last summer, but it would still be when we went to Sturgis a while back. We did 4,500 miles in just a little over 2 weeks.
Does your wife go riding with you?
No, she doesn't.
She don't. Does she tell you, park that thing? I don't like you on it.
Nope, doesn't do that either. Last summer, it was kind of blistering hot at the time you were out. My best friend and brother from Michigan, Steve Dresbach, he and his wife came out. We met in Salt Lake City, took bikes for a week-long ride, and the gals drove chase vehicle, and it actually worked out really good because they're comfortable in air conditioning. That gave us extra space, to carry supplies and whatnot, and we had a blast. So that works out really good.
Wow. And yeah, it's just, if you thought the road trips you were on, like going to Sturgeon and stuff, what's the best ride you've ever had? The best road you went on?
Yeah. Best road that I want. It still have to be last summer when we were going through Monument Valley.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, it was hot, it was dusty, and Steve and I are both, because we're like looking at each other and waving back and forth, but we're just both with our mouths hanging open going, stuff that we've seen in iconic Westerns. You could recognize some of the profiles of some of the rock formations and whatnot. And it was just, I'm getting chills again. It was just a magical sense. We're riding through the Navajo reservation for a long stretch. And it was a magical time. We'd come around one turn and we'd stop, we'd take photos and go, that's it. Man, that was so beautiful. That was stupendous. That's right there. That's the peak. We're not going to say 10 miles later, we're coming around another corner going, oh, no, we were way wrong back there. This is even more stupendous.
Yeah. I've ridden so many roads. It's just, you find everybody's got that favorite road they have. And when you're in different parts of the country, you don't get to see other parts of the country's favorite road. Have you ever done the Dragon in Tennessee?
Not yet. Still need to do the Dragon. As a favorite, because it's local and I ride it a lot and really like it. Piuma in Malibu is my favorite, like, daily ride, if you will. If I'm going to do a quick day ride, it's a nice road. It connects with Stunt Road, where a lot of movies are filmed, but winds through the mountains. There's a 270-degree corner, and it has a picnic table as a stop, and a picnic table in the center. You can pull into the parking lot and sit there, and you have this view looking all the way out, looking out from Ventura to downtown LA. It's just a stupendous view. Wow.
I've not experienced that one yet. So yeah.
Well, we'll have to get out there sometime, because it's still in LA County. So it's like going, wow, technically this is still LA, and it's something that people, it's out of the concrete jungle.
Wow. So yep, gonna have to go do that. So, well, Jeff, I want to make sure that we tell our listeners how they can find you and where they can get a hold of you. What is your website?
AdventureCEO.tv.
No,
so that's AdventureCEO.tv. We're really part of that pivot that we're doing is we're re-anchoring around the TV show that we've been doing and building back out from there.
And that does everything on that site kind of explain exactly all the services and products and stuff you offer?
Yes. So it starts with an introductory video that talks about what we do, why we're doing it, and takes them on from there.
Cool.
So join the conversation. It's like we're having a lot of fun. As we like to say, we're having an adventure. How about you?
That's a good one. So, Jeff, I always like to kind of wind down and close out my podcast with a little game of questions. I like to call
it.
Yes,
and I've seen you do that, and I prepared for it, but I'm having technical difficulties here for some reason. Sorry, gotta go. Thanks. Nice.
Yeah, I got a list for you, buddy.
Okay. I'm sure I'll have an answer or two.
Okay. So this one here, I'm not sure, but I still threw it in there just to see. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Kirk or Picard?
Kirk.
Yeah, You're the first Kirk. I've had a lot of Picards over the last week. East Coast or West Coast?
Midwest.
Now you see why I threw some wing dingers in there. Chopper or bagger?
Oh, no. Do not allow the tyranny of or. Accept the loving embrace of and.
You see why I stuck that in there.
Because Sheila
Yeah.
is a bit chop and a bit bag.
Yeah.
Right? We can quick release. Thank goodness for the invention of quick release.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had that on one of my choppers where basically my bags were detachable and I can go off and do what I had to do. So
yeah.
Let's take it into movies.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Easy Rider or Wild Hogs? They're both good movies, but it's hard to choose.
They are both really good movies. I like them for different reasons, but I'll be honest. This is a time of life thing, and Wild Hogs.
Yeah. Wild Hogs is because it's an adventure around our lifestyle, but the truth is Easy Rider got me into it. Yeah.
Yes. No. Yep.
That's the truth. So
I'm with you on that. We share that.
Yep. Tacos or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers. All right.
Love my tacos, but hamburgers, yeah.
Where's your favorite hamburger from?
Fat Burger here in Los
Burger?
Angeles. Yeah.
So yeah, I had Joel Comm on yesterday. No matter what you said, he was like Five Guys. Five Guys. No matter what option, Five Guys. I'm not a big Five Guys, but he loves it. So yeah.
Yep, they're good. I mean, but a Fat Burger, man, a Fat Burger triple with all the works and a side of chili cheese fries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Call your cardiologist.
Yeah. So tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. All right. Yeah. Black or with cream?
Black. I like my. Yes, and Black Rifle coffee, preferably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people eat that Black Rifle. Yeah. So I know this one, but I have to do it to make fun of you. PC or Apple?
Well, thanks to you, I am now by, Tim. You've led me down that path. We have PC and Apple in the house. Personally, I'm a PC person, but and by the way, my wife Alice says, Tim, thank you for the iPad. So as you're watching this, Tim did a drawing at an event in I threw my
it was Craig Dustwalt's event. I think I did yours. Yeah.
Yeah, did a Craig Dustwalt's event in front of like 500-600 people. Tim converted me to being by with a iPad.
Yeah, I did a drawing and pulled his name out, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, why are you giving me?" I'm like, "Why did you put your name in the contest to win an iPad?"
But it's great, So it's been a good addition to our technology suite.
It is. So this one here is kind of like old fashioned. Like, do you want to read a book or would you rather listen to an audio?
Read a book.
Yeah.
I do a lot of both, but it's just still the experience of reading the book. And I grew up on library books because we couldn't afford, to buy books back in the day, and had a hard time writing in them. But with a book, even the inconvenience that it has, because I need to be sitting in a lighted room. I can't have lights down with my Kindle to make notes and whatnot, and the feel and experience of it.
So some people are that way, and that's just why. So these last two I have on here can create wars. If you have it right now, the one here is toilet paper, under or over.
Over. I was a very I don't know, I guess redneck child growing up. Grew up in an under house, and through the stern counsel of friends when I was in college, I was taught over.
Ah, okay.
Which is fortunate because I have a wonderful wife that may not have happened had I been an under guy instead of an over.
Well, did you hear the broadcast I did earlier this week? This girl, Tammy, is like, I'll break up with him if he doesn't. Tammy, the most quoted person on my podcast this week. All right. And the last one here, boxers or briefs?
Again, you're caught on the tyranny of war. Boxer briefs.
As you can see, we have a little bit of fun with that every week. Jeffrey Wolfe, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast today and sharing some of the stuff with us. Tell everybody again your website.
AdventureCEO.tv.
Okay. And
again, it's .tv. Come on over.
Yep. And you've got anything over there you got things over there that they can get in touch with you and connect with you as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. So and that's the starting point. So you can see what we're about, and that gives them some options on how to get in touch and an opportunity to join the conversation.
Yep. So thank you again, Jeffrey, for being here for another one of the Tim Gillette Show. And guys, thank you guys for listening and seeing these interesting people. Some of them I know, some of them I'm getting to know. And Jeffrey here, we've known each other for many, many years. And as you see, we still had fun. So,
and I appreciate that because you're a shrewd businessman. You have a lot of fun while doing it. Yeah. You have a heart for people. And while you're watching this, Tim is one of the few people that I surround myself with that has permission, no filter, so they can get feedback. I need that feedback, and I deeply appreciate it.
Yeah. So guys, we'll be back real soon with another broadcast. Thank you guys for listening in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.